different offensive play caller in his 6th NFL season. Kevin Patullo replaces Kellen Moore. He's a first-year play caller. With that in mind, Mike Tannenbaum, can Jalen Hurts still be even better in 2025 despite yet another play caller change?
I think there'll be a slight regression just from a standpoint. Last year, everything went perfect, no injuries, and things just fell into place. I'm very bullish on them for this reason. I don't think all changes are the same, guys. I think context is really important here, which is Kevin Patullo goes all the way back with Nick Sirianni to Indianapolis. So I do think you're getting some institutional continuity. And by the way, talked about this earlier, Peter. Is there an underrated great coach more than Nick Sirianni? Nick Sirianni has the highest winning percentage of any coach in the NFL, period, end of story. So as your job as part of being the chief problem-solving officer as the head coach, he should be the one that's providing glue. So I think they're maybe not as good as they were a year ago, but I don't think it's because of the lack of continuity on offense.
I think Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni get the same thing. Say, well, look at all the stuff around them. Hurts to you, can he make a leap in 2025 and despite already winning the Super Bowl MVP?
I believe he can. Jalen Hurts has showed us that he can get better every single year. And the one year he didn't, that was 2023, right? And I'm a firm believer of this. Like a wise man learns from other people's mistakes. So when I look at a guy like Kevin Patullo, who's coming to be the offensive coordinator, learn from the mistakes that Brian Johnson did or the mistakes that he had when he was the OC. And Sal Palantonio, who I love tremendously, who listens to our radio show, came on Fred and Harry yesterday.
3 to 7 East Coast.
3 to 7 p.m. on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel A, and say ESPN Radio to your smart speaker, Peter Schrager.
Okay.
Nice plug.
What did my man Sal Pal have to say?
What Sal said was, when it comes to Kevin Patullo, he, as an offensive play caller, he has to adjust to Jalen Hurts and also Saquon Barkley. It's not the other way around. And this is going to be Kevin Patullo's first time calling plays. Mm-hmm. And that's a different ball game, right? That's different from Kellen Moore, who came over as already being an offensive coordinator, having that in his on his resume.
At the Cowboys and at the Chargers.
Exactly. So that's going to be a different component. But for Jalen Hurts, a guy who didn't have to pass the football a lot last season, it could be different. Now, easier said than done. I do believe teams are going to stack the box a lot more, but you still have to stop it with that offensive line and Saquon Barkley. But it's going to leave one-on-one coverage on the outside for A.J. Brown, who was one of the better receivers versus man coverage last season. And you have Devontae Adams and you have Dallas Goedert. So I do believe
Devontae Smith, sorry.
Yeah, Devontae Smith, my bad. Thank you. But I do believe that Jalen Hurts will be better in 2025.
I want to break the fourth wall a little bit because it did get close to home with some shots at Ryan Clark and Dan Orlovsky. But Cam Newton's coming out this week, and he's saying boldly, hey, the guy threw for 2,900 yards. I can't put him in that same conversation as the other guys if he's throwing for only 2,900 yards in 2025. That's an individual statistic, and yet, for some, they hold that against Jalen Hurts, and they say, he's not that dude. He's not Mahomes. He's not Lamar. He's not. What do you think about that, holding the statistics and what he's got around him, maybe against Jalen Hurts?
I'm not going to hold against Jalen Hurts for the fact that he's with a competent franchise that's has an elite GM, and Howie Roseman knows how to put the pieces together. I'm just not going to do that. I think there's a lot more meat on the bone as far as Jalen Hurts is concerned. Remember, we heard whispers last year, even coming from A.J. Brown about the passing game and some of the deficiencies in the passing game. Here's why I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged because the same system is going to be in place. Okay, they're not This is not like when Kellen Moore came in and brought in a new system. This system is already going to be in place. Kevin Patullo has been in this organization for quite some time. Is it his first year as a play caller? Absolutely. But the terminology and the system is going to remain the same. So for Jalen Hurts, this is actually going to be a good thing, knowing that I don't have to learn something new. I'm already immersed in this system, and now I can just get better at the details within the system, which leads me to believe that he can ultimately become a better quarterback, passing quarterback. Because that's the thing that we've been attacked. I think a lot of people have been attacking Jalen Hurts on.
Yeah, and to that point, guys, maybe why Jalen Hurts to me is the most admired player in the NFL is, again, when you're seeing draft meetings, you're saying the tape sets the floor and the character sets the ceiling. He came out.
Say that again. Tape sets the floor.
And the character sets the ceiling.
I like that.
Yeah, your baseline talent is what it is, and how hard you're going to work at skill development will set your ceiling. He came out rookie year 52%. last year 68%. He led the NFL in completions above expectations, meaning on tight window throws and balls that may not be completed. So when a weakness becomes a strength, he would, like, to me, he could get even better relative to skill development. And that's what, when we were talking about the top 10 list of quarterbacks and he doesn't get his due, I think part of that is he came out, he basically had a transfer in college. He's a bottom of the second rounder, but he's worked his way up. And I think that's the part that, to me, like, you have to admire about the way he's gotten better.
Let's go to the other team from the Super Bowl, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs. Things ended a little differently for them. They were in confetti that was green and white, watching Hurts and co. celebrate. And yesterday, training camp, we had all this footage, and we got this really interesting quote from Andy Reid. Take a listen to what we're hearing here, where Reid says that Travis Kelce, is still what he was and has not lost a step entering his 13th season. So I listened to this sound. Take a listen.
Felt right now. It looks like he's 20. He's doing a good job. He's in great shape, and I'm not sure he didn't come in first on the whole conditioning thing. He was right up front. You can see he's been working out. You saw him yesterday on the long one where he had the burst, and so he's done a nice job. He's worked hard to get to this spot here.
All right, so Kelce for years was not only the number one option, but he was the safety blanket in a lot of ways to Mahomes. Can they still win if Travis Kelce is the number one option? And I would ask you, Mike, is Travis Kelce still able to be a number one option in 2025 in the NFL?
Yeah, I think quantifiably, no. Qualitatively, yes. And what I mean by that is I think he'll be impactful in high leverage moments, specifically third down and red zone. But they have such firepower. Xavier Worthy, a healthy Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice post-suspension. They don't need him to be Travis Kelce for all 17 games. And we cringe about when we hear NBA players with load management, but I think here it's really appropriate. Like, we need Travis Kelce's A game in certain moments. Let's get him ready for those, and let's play him 15, 20 plays a game. And I've had players be very frustrated when I've had similar conversations. But what I would say to Travis is, like, you may be frustrated and mad at me in September and October, but in January, when we want the red confetti instead of the green confetti, remember this conversation. We're going to do everything we can to get you ready for those moments and maybe peel back a little bit earlier in the year.
Do you have anything left in the tank?
I do. I mean, obviously, as you get older, you always want to, kind of what I say, slim down and make sure that you're as light as possible. And I agree with Mike. I think in this situation, there's going to be a lot of load management with Travis Kelce because, when you watch the Kansas City Chiefs last year, I think it was very apparent as the season progressed. Rashee Rice is a number one option. And when he comes back from whenever the suspension comes down, he's going to be the number one option because he was playing that way, in the second half of the season last year. But ultimately, Travis Kelce doesn't have to be that guy. Does he have a rapport with Patrick Mahomes? Absolutely. Do they need him in big moments? Absolutely. But for the long haul, you just need to make sure you manage him till the most important moments, and that's come postseason.
So I think while Rashee Rice is out, Travis Kelce still has to be that number one guy. Mm-hmm. And Woody, I firmly believe what you just stated. Like the first 3 weeks of the season last year in 2024, before Rashee Rice got hurt, he was number one in the league in receptions. He was becoming that number one option for Patrick Mahomes. And Travis Kelce, it was dwindling off that he could just be a part of this thing, right? In a massive way still. So I think while Rashee Rice is out, Travis Kelce still is that number one. When Rashee Rice comes back, now the transition is happening into now pivoting away from Travis Kelce being that number one option to Patrick Mahomes.
There was a time where we would do the top 10 most feared players in the NFL, and you would put him up there with Tyreek and Justin Jefferson, all these guys. I don't think he's viewed the same way that he was then now, though, right?
I don't think that's the case, but
play with it if you want to.
But I will say this:
see what happens.
Tempt him, challenge, because in the Super Bowl he wasn't.
Play stupid games and get stupid results. Leave him one-on-one if you want.
I like this. All right, guys, let's go to the NFC South. Who's going to challenge Baker Mayfield this year? We know they've won back-to-back years, and Baker's been a stud, but we've got some young talent emerging in Atlanta, in Carolina, maybe even in New Orleans. We're going to talk NFC South quarterbacks. Also, Drake May. What's next? Year 2. Year 1, there were some...
Đến với kênh YouTube của mình. Video ngày hôm nay mình lại đi tô màu và mình sẽ tô những bức tranh, những sản phẩm thật là đẹp để gửi tặng đến các bạn. Và mình mong rằng các bạn hãy ấn like và đăng ký kênh để ủng hộ mình nhé. Và bây giờ mình cần chuẩn bị những dụng cụ, đó là những sản phẩm in sẵn. Đây là bút Sharpe màu. Và bây giờ mời các bạn cùng theo dõi quá trình mình tô màu. Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video này của mình.
Bây giờ mình sẽ tô màu các bạn nha. Bây giờ mình sẽ cắt giãn các bạn này.
Ra đây xem bao nhiêu vuông mình từng hai cái cỡ mình nhiều gạch thế là nào rồi trở lại luôn. Thế ra xem mới chật rồi thế này.